Hello there and welcome to this week's edition of Creative Critique, in which this edition is a room special. Well, if you've read the title, you probably will go, well, yeah, of course it's a room special. It's featuring the film Room. But you'll get my meaning, obviously, later in the video, or if you've just read the title of this video. So it's a room special. As I've just mentioned, of course, the film in question is Room. Have I said that enough yet? And the film is directed by Lenny Abrahamson, and it stars Brie Larson as a girl in her early 20s who is effectively been kidnapped and is effectively imprisoned inside a room. We don't know where exactly or by whom. With her also is her son, played by Jacob Tremblay. And is he 5? Yes, he is 5. He's just turning 5 in this film, and it is effectively the case that this child has been born in this room, and their captor is the father. So it sounds like a joyous film, doesn't it? So now, as soon as I say it's not all terribleness, people go, what? A film about someone being imprisoned in a room with her son who she was clearly raped by her captor, and quite nasty things that happen at the beginning of the film. Of course it's going to be a horrible, horrible film. Horrible in terms of themes, obviously not in terms of quality. But it's not. And I obviously went into this film exactly, probably with a lot of people regarding not trepidations, ideas of what the film will be about. I did obviously hear certain people and critics say, "Oh, it's not exactly like that. It's certainly not. The thing you're going in with your mind is not what's going to occur in the film." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, we'll see." And no, that's completely right, because now this is gonna be a absolutely spoilerful edition of this review. So if you want to see Room and don't know anything about it, please stop watching now. And I should never say that, really, should I? Somebody who's watching a video, but spoilers are about to occur. So, like I said, I set the premise. She's held captive in this room with only one way in and out. There's a skylight at the top of this room, which she can't reach, and the only door in and out has a code which he only has the code to, and prevents her from learning by certain actions that he does when he comes in and out the room. Yes. So, what is the film about? The film is about. Oh, just what do you mean is a film about? Of course, I've described the premise already, haven't I? I'm just babbling already. And the what we are effectively seeing, the thing we're seeing this film through mostly in the eyes we're seeing this film through mostly in the film is through Jacob Tremblay's Jack, the son of Brie Larson, and usually seeing this sort of film through a child's eyes could be quite not cheesy. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but it's along the lines of something. It could have really not worked. That doesn't really just help at all, does it? Really, but because there's a voiceover by the kid as well, and usually voiceovers by children can usually be a bit grating and sometimes be a bit. What's the word I'm looking for again? I'm sorry, my dialogue today has been terrible. But the voiceover by the child, in fact, he's never known anything but this room, and the story that Brie Larson has told him is that this is his world, and he makes the most of every single centimeter of or inch, if you will, of this room, and everything about it is massive to him, and his small is small, but his big imagination is a small space. So, and you see it through his eyes, which is fascinating. But obviously, then you get that contrast and condition when you suddenly have Brie Larson and her point of view and her encounters with her captor. So it's a fabulously, wonderfully imagined film in terms of this is a film obviously set in one place, and usually that is quite trying as a film. And I've said film an awful lot, but it every single inch, just like the room itself, seems massive and worthwhile and explored wonderfully. It's partly down to the wonderfully written script, and the script has come from a book written by Emma Donoghue, who also wrote the film script. So somebody who clearly knows exactly what her material is, and knows probably, in her opinion, how best to portray it on screen. Now, obviously, I have no idea in how much element themes are continued from the book to the film, but all I can tell you is in the film they flipping work. So yes, the very subtle score is very effective. Like I say, the world that's created within inside this room is wonderfully explored and wonderfully portrayed through Jack's eyes. Let's talk about what happens next. Because you think this is a 2-hour film. Spoilers are about to occur. Do not watch this more if you want spoilers for the rest of this film. What occurs is that they hatch a plan to get out, and in doing so, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, Jack is, she makes out that Jack is dead, rolls him up in a carpet and wants him to take him outside to be buried somewhere. And obviously giving Jack all the instructions to not get caught, and as soon as he can, run to somebody with a little note and get help. This does occur. Now, and this happens probably just over halfway into the film, so, no, actually, probably halfway through the film, so this is then sort of an interesting way to go, because usually a film would probably portray that final escape as the final piece of the film, or piece of the jigsaw, piece of the final act of the film. So that's a fascinating thing to do, because obviously it's from a book, so she's just following her own what she's done before. So it's an interesting thing to watch, because it suddenly takes you somewhere where you don't get taken very often, which is into what happens next after that sort of event. What is the personal trauma that is taken on by Brie Larson's character and Jacob Tremblay's Jack character? Who is coped best with it? Who is going to cope best with getting out of there? Who is going to be affected by the world and suddenly... It's wonderfully, wonderfully done from a psychological point of view and a personal drama point of view. Afterwards, that reintroduction with family that has been torn apart, literally, by the fact that her parents had split up over the whole incident, being so unable to cope with her her loss. Them obviously probably perceiving her to be dead all these years, most likely, and it's a wonderfully, wonderfully performed, and obviously lots of talking about Brie Larson being absolutely fabulous and being up for Best Actress at many awards, most notably after the Oscars, and well done. I mean, seriously, because she is absolutely fabulous in the interaction and creating that world, first of all, in the room, and then her sort of almost her breakdown in a way as she leaves this room and is unable to cope with trying to get back into normal society and family and dealing with the fact, trying to deal in the world with Jack. And she's wonderful. And let's just go straight now into Jacob Tremblay's performance, because child actors and child performers, when they're good, they are really good, aren't they? And in this sense, that is exactly where Jacob Tremblay's performance comes in. There's that sort of fine balancing out between child actors and actually a child acting. Exactly, I know that sounds a bit silly, but I'm sure you know what I mean. And at certain moments, you can possibly see little things going on where I think, oh, maybe that's something he's brought from his own sort of child acting career. But then he is, to be honest, about the moment, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal because numerous times throughout this film, I was either close to tears or I had a tear rolling down my eye, and I was thinking about. Sorry, I'm just thinking about one or two of those moments right now, and they are heartbreaking. They are heartbreaking, and some of them might be considered rather on the nose, but they are so affecting. And it's the reason why it's so affecting, because it's beautifully told, beautifully directed, and fantastically performed particularly by Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay in that relationship. that is what sells the emotion and sells the movie to you, because it's something you're not seeing that often on a screen. It's something of small personal drama, in which usually be a one film of them getting out of this room, but it's actually split into effectively two wonderfully performed acts, and it's just wonderful. It is just wonderful, Room. Please seek it out, because it's not got a great release here in. It's only been out in America, I believe. It's been out for a while in America, actually, hasn't it? It was out in October last year, so. But in the UK, it's just been out this last month or so. Please seek it out if you're in the UK, because it is just a fabulous, fabulous piece of performing drama. It's a wonderful performance, a wonderfully told film, and there is nothing bad at all about this film other than the themes it probably depicts. It's a fabulously told story, and it's a film of the highest quality. So Room is my theatrical release film of the week. Now, my classic film of the week, I did say it was a Room special, and I was really struggling what sort of to go with this week as my classic film. So I ended up going with something called, with Room in the title also, which is Panic Room. Now, not because it just has room in the title and it's in this kind of setting in one room or in one household, but the fact that it focuses on such another small personal drama of trauma and people being held captive. Again, so it's similar themes, but just told in a different style and way. David Fincher is the director, of course, who is a fabulous director. He's probably one of my most prominent directors in my DVD collection. I love an awful lot of his films. I do like Gone Girl, as I love Gone Girl and Social Network, and obviously Seven and Fight Club and Zodiac. And I actually, you know what, the director's cut of Alien 3 is a damn decent film. We all know his opinions on the theatrical release, but he did a damn good job with a film there that shouldn't have been able he shouldn't have been able to get anything out of that film, but he did. In my opinion, he did a very good job in Alien 3, for the record. But here we are, David Fincher in his sort of best sort of territory of sort of claustrophobic thriller in this sort of sense. And what I effectively focus on is Jodie Foster and her daughter Kristen Stewart. It is a 2002 film, so it's before, quite a significant time before Kristen Stewart became known for the Twilight films. You wouldn't really recognise her in some senses, really, in terms of performance, I believe. But it's a film told that they've just moved out from her husband, who has effectively had an affair, and she's getting a divorce from him, so she's just purchased a new sort of house, really. And it's one with a peculiar addition to the rooms, and that's a panic room. And obviously, that panic room is obviously something that is for the if you're sealed in, you're the one who control getting in or out. Nobody can be able to get in there if, say, somebody came in and was wanting to steal something. Lo and behold, the first night that that they are staying there, what happens? Oh, it would appear that Forrest Whitaker, Jared Leto, and Dwight Yoakam wish to rob the place. But under the assumption that it would be empty, according to Jared Leto. Bad info, bad intel, Jared Leto. Come on. Dwight Yoakam is sort of a psychopath thief, really. He's very intimidating with his hockey mask on, and his balaclava sort of thing, really. And Forrest Whitaker is sort of the insider who knows all about this panic room and how it works and so on and so forth. And he knows that you can't get in it unless you know the tricks of the trade. He has worked for this company, and they are there to rob something out of this room. What occurs, obviously, is that they're in there. Jodie Foster is gets Kristen Stewart, manages to get inside this panic room. Problem is, of course, she obviously says, "Oh, get out of here! You take whatever you want and get out." And it's like they hold up a piece of paper to one of the cameras in one of the rooms. There's cameras in every room, and they go, "What we want is in that room." And so it begins a sort of a cat and mouse sort of a game of cat and mouse, with them playing off against each other and trying to get each other to use every sort of advantage to their own skill. Now, some of the things about this film, I really like Jodie Foster's performance, and Kristen Stewart is very, very good in the film. Forrest Whitaker is great, and Jared Leto and Dwight Yoakam provide ample support. But what the film possesses most is that sense of claustrophobia. It's a thriller, it's a claustrophobic thriller, like I say, and the way David Fincher uses camera work in order to emphasise, like the way he pans So you'll be in a sort of a room above, and suddenly you'll pan back, go down the stairs, and go forward again, and sort of and go across the line and something. It's fabulous camera work in this film, and it's been imitated immensely. It has been imitated immensely. No one does it better than Fincher, although some people would sort of maybe argue certain other things with other directors recently regarding tracking shots and things like that. I think I did. Yes. But some wonderful, wonderful use of sets and use of location, like I said, camera work. Some great performances, and at certain moments you are shouting. I'm luckily I've seen this film a long time ago, and obviously I really liked it and bought it. I watched it again last night. Was it last night? It was, yes. It's that soon. And I'm glad it's been such a long time since I watched it. Now that doesn't sound like a good thing for a film, but the fact is I managed to forget certain things about the plot. So suddenly you're engaged again in a way that possibly if you watch it very recently, after quite often, it will not have the same effect on you. So that just proves how effective the film is, because even as I was watching it again, I was like trying to remember things and I couldn't remember them. So fabulously told, and it creates a great sense of tension. It's an interesting dynamic between Forest Whitaker, Dwight Yoakam, and Jared Leto. There's some great comedic moments, but some very concerning moments as well. And it's interesting character development going on with those. Well, particularly with Forest Whitaker. Great interaction though between those a lot, and it's a it's a really good thriller. It's a nifty little thriller, really, because it's probably not one of Fincher's best known and best loved films, but I think it's just a solid, let's say solid, doesn't make it sound good, does it? A solidly made thriller with great performances. It's an hour and 50, is it about? An hour and 50, just 45. So it's not a film that's overstated. It knows the confines of itself. It's a great little nifty thriller. There we go. What can I say about the film? It's a great film by David Fincher, and so yeah, Panic Room was my classic film of the week. Obviously, Room was my theatrical release film of the week. I thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what I've had to say, and if you have, please subscribe to me. Otherwise, I will hope to see and speak to you again very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.